African Creation Energy, Creative Solution-Based Technical Consulting presents The African Origin of Mathematics, an excerpt from the book Supreme Mathematics, African Math Magic, available at www.africancreationenergy.com. Mathematics is an intellectual and scientific tool created and invented by African people for the purpose of systematically studying, learning, and comprehending nature. Since mathematics is the intellectual tool used for studying nature, there is a field of mathematics that corresponds to every aspect of nature. The field of mathematics called arithmetic deals with the basic counting or quantifying things found in nature with similar qualities. Algebra studies the formulas of nature, geometry studies the forms, spaces, and shapes of nature, and calculus studies the changes over time in nature. Even the minds and mental faculties in nature are studied mathematically in the field of probability and statistics, which studies speculation and belief, and mathematical logic and propositional calculus, which studies the mathematics of logic and reasoning. Formal definitions of mathematics state that mathematics is the scientific and systematic treatment and study of quantity, magnitude, multitude, form, structure, space, and change using symbolic objects to discover patterns, find solutions, determine conclusions, and establish truth using rigorous deductive reasoning. The etymology of the word mathematics comes from the Greek word mathema, meaning to learn or to think, to have one's mind aroused, to be wise, wide awake, and lively. The suffix "tic" in the word mathematics comes from the Greek word technique, meaning system, process, method, art, or craft. Thus, the etymological sense of the word mathematics is the art of thinking, systematic learning, or thought process. The word mathematics and the word number, which is the essential mathematic object, both come from the African Egyptian deities Tahuti and Ma'at. The Greek word mathema, meaning thought, is also related to the Greek word metheus, meaning thought, that can be found in the name of the Greek deity Prometheus, which means forethought. In Greek mythology, Prometheus was the son of Themis, a Greek deity called Lady of Justice and the personification of divine order and law in Greek mythology. Prometheus stole knowledge from Mount Olympus and gave it to humanity. Prometheus is comparable to another character in Greek mythology called Hermes, who was considered the inventor of knowledge, the messenger of Greek deities, and the Greek deity of wisdom, writing, and invention. The Greek deity Themis worked in conjunction with another Greek deity named Nemesis, who distributes or deals out vengeance and divine retributive justice as a result of disregarding Themis. The root of the word nemesis is the Greek word nemen, which means to divide, to distribute, allot, or deal out, and is also the root of the word number. In the book Stolen Legacy by George G.M. James, an in-depth description is provided of how Greek mythology and philosophy concepts were stolen from the ancient Africans in Egypt. The Greek deities Prometheus and Hermes in particular were modeled after the African Egyptian deity Tahuti, and the Greek deities Themis and Nemesis were modeled after the African Egyptian deity Ma'at. Tahuti, also called Thoth, was the Egyptian god of wisdom, writing, magic, sciences, math, and measuring time. Tahuti was a lunar deity and often depicted as a man with the head of an ibis bird or as a baboon. In the ancient Egyptian mythology, Tahuti's consort was Ma'at, the Egyptian goddess of truth, justice, order, and divine wisdom. In Egyptian mythology, it was said that Ma'at brought the universe into order from chaos at the beginning of creation. Ma'at was personified as a goddess wearing the feather of an ostrich and symbolically by the scales of Ma'at representing balance and equality, equilibrium, or solving equations. Tahuti's other female counterpart was the Egyptian goddess Sishat. Sishat was the Egyptian goddess of wisdom, knowledge, writing, architecture, astronomy, astrology, building, mathematics, and surveying. The deities Ma'at, Tahuti, and Sishat represented a triad of African deities and concepts related to mathematics. The earliest archaeological examples of mathematics are found in Africa. The oldest mathematical artifact found to date is a 37,000-year-old item known as the Limbobo bone, which was discovered in the African country known as Swaziland. The Limbobo bone is the fibular lower leg bone of a baboon. The Limbobo bone was found marked with 29 notches similar to the calendar sticks and tally sticks used by the Bushmen of Namibia today. Another mathematical tool similar to the Limbobo bone is the 20,000-year-old Ishango bone. The Ishango bone was discovered in Africa at the source of the Nile River between the countries of Uganda and Congo. The Ishango bone, like the Limbobo bone, is the fibula of a baboon with a piece of quartz crystal, which is used to regulate most modern clocks and timing devices today, attached on one end, and 3 columns of asymmetrically grouped tally marks carved along the sides. Mathematical analysis of the Ishango bone indicates knowledge of sequential ordering of prime numbers and the development of a numeral system that was the precursor to the binary-based multiplication method of the ancient Egyptians that developed in later years further down the Nile and eventually served as the mathematical engine of computer science. Both the Limbobo bone and the Ishango bone were used as lunar calendars as indicated by the groupings of 28 to 30 tally marks followed by a distinctive marker. The archaeological evidence indicates that counting, arithmetic, and thus mathematics were developed by African women as a way to quantify time and chart their menstrual cycle as it related to the lunar cycle. It is interesting to note that the Ishango bone and the Limbobo bone were both parts of a baboon and were used for calculating and measuring lunar cycles of time, and the ancient Egyptian deity Tahuti was a lunar deity often depicted as a baboon and was said to have been responsible for inventing mathematics and measuring time. Not only is Africa the home of the oldest discovered mathematical artifacts, but also the home of the oldest mathematical writings and texts ever found. A 4,000-year-old mathematical papyrus from Egypt's 11th dynasty is the oldest mathematical writing found to date. This papyrus contains 25 mathematical equations and calculations to determine surface area and volume of geometric figures like hemispheres and frustrums, as well as methods to approximate transcendental numbers like pi. This 11th dynasty Egyptian geometry papyrus is now kept in the Museum of Fine Arts in Moscow, Russia, and is commonly known as the Moscow Mathematical Papyrus. Several other Egyptian mathematic texts have been discovered to date. These texts contain word problems that demonstrate the various fields of mathematics that were known by the ancient Africans in Egypt. The 11th dynasty Egyptian geometry papyrus and Ahmos's mathematical papyrus, commonly called the Rhine papyrus, are the two primary sources of information on Egyptian mathematics. The 18th dynasty scribe and mathematician Ahmos, whose name means the moon is born, another reference to the lunar deity Tahuti, copied the papyrus from an older lost Middle Kingdom papyrus entitled Methods for Knowing All Mysteries and All Secrets. In the first paragraph of the papyrus, Ahmos states that mathematics is the method to inquire into nature and obtain correct and right knowledge of all things, all mysteries, and all secrets. Mathematics is the mental tool developed by African people that provides the insight and comprehension to enable the creative energy of African peoples to engineer, invent, innovate, and create anything that is needed or desired. For more information, be sure to check out the book, Supreme Mathematics, African Math Magic, available at www.africancreationenergy.com.